Thank you. Now, when I was actually doing the selection of the speakers, because all of them had their own talents, yeah. So, it's always easy to simply put down the speakers, but it is a challenge to put them in sequence, because I have to take into account the egos and also the importance of their speech in terms of the transition, peralihan. And my gut feeling was to put Johan, Julian, in the third leg, because in a relay, you have the first runner, second runner, third runner, and the fourth runner. For me, the most important runner is the third runner, because the third runner is supposed to maintain the momentum before, the first two runners who pass the baton will have to pass, and he's the third runner, he's very crucial, he has to maintain the momentum to pass on to the anchorman, where the anchorman brings the baton home. So thank you, Julian. You have vindicated my decision in putting you as a third speaker. And there were lots of nuggets that you mentioned, small but very powerful. We will talk more at the end when we all sit on the panel. Moving on, I have got something about this chap. In Australia, we call them the bloke. A bloke friend of mine. We never met until today, but somehow our paths never crossed, but we seem to know each other somehow. More about this chap. He's the president of MASMMMAA, total of 11 years in sports broadcasting. I'm sure you have seen this man. Very, very animatic and approachable, and also in journalism. Former ESPN Sports Center and Astro Arena presenter. He's also, like I said, the president of the Malaysian Mixed Martial Arts Association. I think he's 3 months old, if I'm not wrong. And one of the earliest national MMA associations in Southeast Asia. He's also a current member of the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation. He has been associated with MMA for the last 6 years and is still actively involved in rugby as a player, although he doesn't look like one, and administrator for the last 38 years. That old, huh? He was also a part of a popular and successful Malaysian television, which I enjoyed, Kopitiam. That was like 1 century ago. Please put your hands together. And he's also acting in a forthcoming film, Rashid, Salleh.
Thanks for putting me down. Okay, I'm sure you guys can see this. Firstly, you guys, the first three speakers, thank you very much, because you did a lot of work for me. You've actually laid a whole platform for me to be able to produce what I'll be talking about for today. I'm not going to take too much of your time, but obviously I'm going to focus on MASMMMAA, the Malaysia Mixed Martial Arts Association. Now, the reason we say Malaysia and not Malaysian is we open it up also to foreigners. So MMA is actually in Malaysia, not just for Malaysians, but anyone who comes to Malaysia and wishes to do mixed martial arts here in Malaysia. So we're open to everyone. Also, MMA, coming from Stanley's point of view, we are actually, mixed martial arts literally means we have progressed from martial arts. It's a combination of all the martial arts that we have, whether it's Taekwondo, whether it's Kung Fu, whether it's Judo, BJJ, it's everything else. So the sport has evolved. MMA is now. This is the evolving sport of martial arts, is MMA. And I'm very thankful to be here. What I'll be talking about today, obviously, is this. And the title of it is Moving Forward Together. Because that's what MMA is all about. It's a combination of all the sports. It is us as martial arts exponents coming together and doing the sport justice. And that's very, very important. Okay, guys, brief introduction. Firstly, thank you very much, Borneo Martial Arts Expo 2018 for the invitation. Very nice photo, by the way. You can still see my yellow teeth there. All right, there you go. Keep it steady because just press space bar, so it'll be okay. Hang on. Right, so a little bit about me. I'll tell you about it. Okay, when I was told, or rather, I was arm twisted, elected just a bit more than less than 3 months ago as the president of Malaysia MMA Association, MASMMAA. I had this nightmare thought because I used to be part of the media. So the first thing that came to my head was the media portraying me. Comedian becomes president of mixed martial arts. This is actually me 2 years ago in doing a theatre production. So I thought this picture would come out and they said, President MASMMAA, this fella. So, you know, I thought, is this going to be a big joke or what? So I don't just do all that. A little bit about me, this is my younger self. In the mid-90s after university and all that, I came back and at the time I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had economics. It's like, you know, everyone does economics apparently in the mid-90s. I actually, through a friend of mine, joined an event company. It was one of the first in the country called Red-ASIA. Became an event organizer. This is very stuff that people actually don't know about me because it was actually a very, very good time. We did corporate and sports events. We used to cover mostly rugby because the whole company was rugby players. So we could actually leave work and go and play rugby. I was only playing rugby at this time. Obviously, you guys know Kopitiam. If you don't, you're very young. I've been involved from 2000 to 2007 in television, in film, you name it, I probably did it. I was actually also, just prior to that, when I was doing events, 1998, the Commonwealth Games, one of the orangutan, the one with the Pepsi, that was me. I was actually one of the orangutan. I got paid very well for that. But I did film, television. I also, my first contact with MMA was in 2006. I actually interviewed Adam Qayyum on the breakfast show on NTV7, and he kicked me into the wall as a demonstration. Quite painful. Luckily I had a padding, but I literally, he would just go boom. I was like, oh, that's MMA, thank you very much. 2006, so that was my first ever contact with MMA. Beyond that, still handsome, in 2007, I went fully into sports and sports broadcasting. Did ESPN Star Sports. Now, following on to what he was saying, ESPN, when I first joined ESPN, I asked my producer, what's ESPN? Is it Extreme Sports Programming Network? And she's like, no. The big E is entertainment. So yes, sports is an entertainment. And what we were doing there were entertaining people and teaching them about the sports. And that was the purest form. That's why they're the worldwide leaders in sports, because we entertain you guys and we make sure that you gain sports. So that's why the Americans are so good. And those 3+ years that I was there, I learned so much that I did in the whole of the 10 years that I've been doing sports. I also joined Astro Arena when it first started in 2010, I think. I also did a stint with Fox Sports doing football and stuff. And this was quite interesting. I covered the first ever Tour de Timor cycling race in Timor-Leste in 2009 as an ESPN journalist and broadcaster. I joined the presidency. I actually worked for the former president of Timor-Leste, Jose Ramos Horta, in this unit called CAU, Creative Active Unit, which promotes peace through sports. So I was working there for a couple of years, working in Timor. Were very eye-opener for me because, you know, it was a country that's 20 years behind Borneo, and it still is 20 years behind Borneo. Very rich in terms of their resources, but still behind in terms of their thinking, their education. But through that, through sports, we taught them a lot. And obviously now, little known fact, I am actually also running a small sports digital content company, which obviously deals with sport and everything else before I became the president of this of MASMMAA. Okay, I've been playing rugby actually for 38 over years. I started at the age of 9. I will be 47 next week. So I've been involved with rugby. I started off rugby in the UK. I wasn't bullied. It was just, there's a field. It was winter. The field was so cold. They said, bring your boots, go there. There's an oval-shaped wall, play with it. And I realized everyone's bigger than me. Yeah, I was like, 9 years old, like this small, but I did it anyway. Realized everyone was beating the heck out of me, but I did it. I've been a player for all those years. I'm still playing. In fact, I first came to Labuan in 2004. We won the Labuan Tens, and that year, we lost the year before. We won it in 2004. And the last time I was here was 2011, and I left with 2 black eyes. I will tell you a story one day about that. And I have been in administration of rugby for probably about 10, 15 years. Also at our rugby club, Cobra, as well as Malaysian Rugby Union as well, as their media and PR person. Now I can't do it because apparently I'm the president of MASMMMAA. She is still in shock. In terms of MMA, was first involved with MMA through the first season of BIMA, which was in 2013. It wasn't the first time I've been in contact with MMA. In fact, Adam was one thing, but at ESPN we watched a lot of MMA. It was still new at the time, but we had a lot of UFC. It was still fledgling, but we had a lot of UFC. So I sort of knew what was going on. But through hosting and more importantly, as a scriptwriter for the program, I learned so much more. And in being in contact with all the martial artists in the program and also outside of it, it was a very quick learning lesson. The first season, I didn't know what a rear naked choke was. I thought it was some guy going behind the other going, hey friend, how are you? But after that, over the last 6 years, I started getting to know it. Now, I sort of know what I'm talking about, which is why they made me the president. I'm going to keep talking about this because I'm still, And this year, just a couple of months ago, through my contacts and my involvement in Timor-Leste, I've been in and out of the country for the last 10 years, we organized the first ever MMA tournament championship in Timor. These guys have been basically fighting having wars, and they had a very peaceful transition, and they fought in the cage for the first time. Mostly amateur. We had 4 pro fights, 6 amateur fights, and luckily the Timorese guy won at the end because it was very tense. We even had it was the first ever MMA of any sports event that we had the cage and then we had the surrounding, and the surrounding had about 40 army and police all with machine guns protecting us from the crowd. So these guys they did very, very well. We had guys from obviously he's from Brazil, right? We had a Brazilian guy, we had a French guy, we had a lot of Malaysian guys, Thais, as officiating and also fighting. And they really did well for themselves, and now they want us to come back. But we'll see how it goes, because I have to take over Malaysia first. Moving along. Okay, why I'm here. We're basically going to give you a brief outlook of what MASMMMAA is supposed to be doing. What's our role? Okay, first one, obviously we were formed in 2013. We are a non-profit organization. We are also the national governing body. Not many people knew that prior to this. We've actually been around for 5-6 years, but no one knows. So I just give you a refresher course for everyone so you know what we're all about. And of course, we take care of not just amateur, but the professional side of MMA as well. Again, yeah. So we are affiliated with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and more importantly as well, in the International MMA Federation, which is IMAF. We are a member of IMAF for a good reason, because we have, especially when it comes to the rules for the amateur, we follow the unified rules of IMAF. So everything that we do, we follow them, because IMAF wishes to be in the Olympics in 10 years' time, and we'd like to be there. We'd like to be one of the first countries to be able to say, we are there at the Olympics with MMA, because this is a great start. We have 10 years to work on that, and hopefully we will be there. We'll have one guy at the Olympics for MMA, and that will be a great achievement for the sport if that happens. We are a sanctioning body, so anything to do with MMA, you obviously will have to speak to us and get this done. And speak to us, because what I'm telling the last few months is, I've told all the organizers, we're very open. We'd like to protect you, and we'll tell you the reason why after this. And obviously, we also like to have a platform to develop skills. We talked about coaching and everything else. Now, MASMMAA wants to do that for everyone. We have a lot of local coaches who are really, really good. Let's come together. Let's develop their skills in officiating, whether they're referees, whether they're inspectors, and we work together to do the governance of the sport. That's why I said moving forward together is very important. MMA is already one, a combination of a lot of sports, and we have seminars to be able to do that. One more time. Okay, this is two of the things that are very close to me. Medical. I will tell you a little bit about Safe MMA after this. We want to provide assistance. We want to provide the medical training for every single tournament championship in this country, because I've learned this through rugby. What we have a lot of tournaments, a lot of championships. What we fail to do as organizers, in most cases, is that what happens to the athlete after? Who takes responsibility to the athlete when they get injured? Do they do it themselves, especially if they're amateurs? Can they afford it? We want to be able to tell the organizers and say, hey, look, can we help you with this? Can we be the governing body? Can we bring our medical guys and cover you? Can we come in and subsidize or be there? Because the athlete's safety, this is a combat sport. Somebody gets injured, you might not be able to fight in 2-3 months' time. But if you're there and somebody takes care of you, you might be coming back in a month or less than that. Somebody's got to do it, and that's our responsibility. MASMMMAA has to do that. Coaching, like I said, provide the seminars. Let's speak to each other. It's not just about us and you. A lot of the thing I'm surrounded. We always in Borneo, it's like we're anak tiri. I'm not gonna let that happen anymore. As someone from Borneo, I believe that we do have the skills. We are very much educated, and we are very much people who can bring the sport up. It's not just, the focus is not just on Peninsula. It has to be on East Malaysia. I know through rugby and other sports that we have the talent here, and we need to discover it here. So as long as I am president of MASMMMAA, I wouldn't say I'm going to be biased about it, and I've mentioned this before, but I will definitely look into Borneo as equal partners. And even though politically we've always been asking that, I'll make sure that we are equal partners, because we're talking about the whole of Malaysia, and we are not going to be anak tirikan Sabah, Sarawak, Labuan, or even Brunei. That's it. They want us to help them. Obviously, we need the collaboration with the other martial arts federation, because it's mixed martial arts. We will provide seminars. We'll bring the guys from Taekwondo. We'll bring the guys from BJJ. Ask them, because these guys need to have the skills to be able to do everything. You may be really good at one thing. You may be good at stand-up boxing, but MMA, a lot of the groundwork is important. We need guys who are good at wrestling, coach wrestling, to be able to teach us. I don't need to tell you this anyway, because this is very, very, very important. Next, please. Athlete safety. This is what Safe MMA is all about. So IMAF does this. We would like to work closely with IMAF on safety for the athlete. Now, to me, this is number one. The safety of the sport and the safety of your participants are crucial in having a very good tournament or any championship. We got to handle their medical clearance. What we like to do as MASMMAA is talk to the other federations in terms of the amateur side, talk to the other federations and say, give us your database of all the athletes that you have. We work together so we can say that if we have professional and he comes into an amateur tournament, that's a big no-no because it's unfair. If he is injured from doing taekwondo and then comes to MMA, we'd like to know because it's very important for his safety of the athlete. Because if you don't know, he comes in. We've had cases like this, especially in Myanmar, that we didn't know that they come to fight. Oh, by the way, after the fight, I was injured from this other fight. Why didn't you tell us? Because they're too afraid to tell us. So this is very important. So when we have that database, it's easier for us to basically create the database and future clearance for these athletes to compete. It's not because we don't want to fight. We are very much concerned for their safety as well. Next, please. Going to go on a bit about this because it's really, really important. We also like to provide staffing, medicals, like I said earlier, the doctors, paramedics. We give clear access to local emergency. We do this in rugby already. For any tournaments we have doctors, we have paramedics. We speak to the local hospital and we say, give us clear access. If there's a big injury, the ambulance goes straight there. They go into the neurological unit or any the doctor will be standby and then we operate on them immediately. This is something that MASMMAA would like to be able to provide so that you have assurance that when you step into the cage, you only worry about your fight and your strategies. The next one. Now, this is also part of it. So anything to do with the hospital, CT scans, those who've suffered head injuries, anti-doping. We laugh about it now, but MMA has become a sport that this has become a very important point, especially if we are to go towards the dream of having MMA in the Olympics. Blood tests, post-injury suspensions, all this is very important. The safe weight management. Now, this has been a debate that's been going on for a long time. Do people who are cut weight or do we do it naturally? I believe when it comes to amateur sports, we must do it naturally. So you come in at that weight and be able to fight at that weight because it's very dangerous to cut weight. I'm sure that you guys have gone through that, going into the ice bath the night before and then, go for your weigh-ins and then after that you start eating and then, the body changes a lot and we understand that. Another big, very important thing, it's very hard to get insurance for combat sports. We've only just gotten insurance for a tournament, for players, for clubs in rugby only recently. And the sport has been around for years, hundreds of years. But I do believe that if we can get this, we can get a tournament insured, we are heading in the right direction. I have spoken to a lot of people in the last few months about this. And I think we may be heading somewhere, and I hope that, especially with MASMMAA-related organizations and tournaments, we hope to have insurance. These are the crucial things that I believe that should happen when we have that. So whether you're an organizer, whether you want to get this done, speak to us, we'll try and get this done for you. Okay? Again, this is a very brief overview of what our roles are. Okay, next. Right, this is the other area that I'd like to work on. Just press once. Development. You cannot move a sport forward if you don't have kids. Youth development is so important. I asked you guys yesterday, the gym owners, how many kids do you have in your sport? Rugby became great because we now have a program called Get Into Rugby. We can do the same thing. GMA, Get Into MMA. We must start from young. Now, IMAF has a youth and cadet championship going on. They start from 12 years old. We want to be there. We want to bring our kids into the international arena. But before that, we got to start our own arena here. So guys who owns gyms, your promoters, start bringing kids into the gyms. Promote kids into the gyms because in 10 years' time, they could be an Olympian. And of course, creating the pool of talent. When we have a lot of kids, you'll have talent. If you don't have any kids, you never create this. They'll be able to compete in the local and international arena because this will happen. We will have a cadet championship, the IMAF Cadet Championship in Rome next year, August. If possible, we've got from here now until August, if you can bring one child, whether 12, 14, 16, up to I think 21, right? If you can get one of these youth, Malaysian youth, fighting in the cadet championship in August 2018, and I'll definitely try and get the funds for that. We will do it. I do believe in that. It will be a great achievement for us. And then that person, and we talk about this marketing. We market this person. It will definitely get the sport off the ground, which leads me to the next thing. Cool. I have a quote myself. I've actually put it down here. The youth and the future will always be linked because none can exist in the absence of another. Now, a nation that fails to invest in the future of its youth is a doomed nation because the youth is a significant symbol of strength and persistence. Youth are the building blocks of a nation, correct or not? This is very, very important. Without these kids, we don't have a foundation. Any sport, whether it's tiddlywinks or lawn bowls, we don't have youth in MMA, we'll never prolong ourselves. Next. Leads me on to the marketing. Now, this is a very brief overview. I focus mainly because I am in media and sports media. We understand, we've learned over the years that the digital platform is a very powerful tool. So we will have our Facebooks, we'll have our Instagrams, the YouTubes, the Twitter, and it is very, very important. This is the platform of the 21st and 22nd and moving on. This is where it's going to be. Everyone has a smartphone. You want to go broadcasting? This is what it's all about. Now, here's what my thing to the gym owners, to the organizers is, we would like to provide you guys with this. Because if we speak to all of you and say, guys, can you plan and do a calendar of your tournaments? Don't clash, don't do anything that will fight, because let's move forward together. If we do this throughout the year, you can sustain your MMA fetish, so to speak, throughout the year. We can help you provide this eyeballs. So easier for us to get sponsors. If you guys come together under MASMMAA, we can help provide this because it gives us the platform to go to the sponsors, to go to the funders. Oh, by the way, all these guys are sanctioned under us. We can provide you your eyeballs because we're the national government body, and then they will help us. It helps us, it helps you, and in turn we can help fund all this as well. I know it's a very bold step, but we are such a young sport, and you have to remember. And I'll be very honest with you. MMA is still, even though we have UFC, we have one championship, MMA is still very small in the eyes of those who don't know the sport. And we want to be able to get that out there and the eyeballs. And this is one of the ways of doing it. And that leads us to this. Guys, I appeal to you guys because, thank you, that looks like me. I appeal to you guys because we want you to become members of MASMMAA. If you come in with us, we will definitely be able to help each other. Right now, the last 5 years, from what I've been told, that everyone has been fractured. Everyone does their own thing. No one's everyone's doing their own thing. Now, I've been I'm twisted into this job, and my job is to bring everyone together. Hence the title, Moving Forward Together. It's very important. Everyone can join, even my old self here as well. So it's important. Men, women, whatever gender you are. If you are into the sport, come into it because the benefits are there. We're all very open to ideas because we know that each state, each district or each town and each organization have their own way of doing things. Tell us, talk to us because we're very much open. We'd like to share that knowledge because not everything works for everyone, as you said in the past as well. So do come and speak to us because we're now in business. Let's get this going. Let's get MMA in Malaysia up and running because I'm here now. And as long as I'm here, I'll try and help out. Even though, yes, I'm a rugby player, I'm now very much dedicated into mixed martial arts. And here's the other thing. I'm very neutral because I don't have a stake in any gym or anything like that. So that's one thing I can tell you. I will help you as long as we all help each other. It sounds like the mafia, but no. We must help each other. Let's move everything forward together. I'm keeping this very short. So this is very important. And thank you very much. Short, sweet.
Photo opportunity.
Only 40.
Yeah.